guys, welcome to another episode of Side Quest Podcast, the unofficial podcast of Fitocracy. If you're not following the podcast on Twitter, please check us out there at SideQuestFM. You get updates about guests that we have and all the fun interactions I do with guests that I've had on the show before. You can also check us out on Facebook. Just go to Facebook, search Side Quest Podcast, like us there, and you'll get updates on every episode as they come out every Monday, as well as links to articles when someone posts them, and they're fantastic stuff, so I'll put them out there. Also, as well, you can head over to sidequestpodcast.com. If you want to use that, you can still use that, or you can also go over to sidequestfitness.com/podcast, and that will get you to the website so you can listen to all the guests that I've had on the show. Today, I've got a great guest for you. We're gonna bro out for a little bit. We're gonna get some alpha going on. It's been a hot minute since I've had the most brotastic guests on since Tanner and I broed out over Star Wars and bicep curls. But I have a great guest on. He is the one and the only Omar Atlas. Omar, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. So your website is Alpha Aesthetics. So I have to ask, Alpha Aesthetics. Why Alpha Aesthetics?
To be honest, just a name that came to me one night when I was in bed, and it really clicked for me. To be honest, that's what it was. And I think I also really like it because it sort of combines the idea of being alpha, which is sort of a dirty word to a lot of people now. But my definition of alpha is basically trying to be the best version of yourself.
Okay.
And aesthetics is just because it sounded cooler than bodybuilding, because bodybuilding is like people have this image of 1980s roided up dudes, and bodybuilding itself has sort of like gone in a weird direction where it's people who's jacked guys that don't even look good. So aesthetics is sort of lifting to look good. So that's how that name came about. Okay.
No, I kind of agree with you on that bodybuilding has sort of, in a way, gone to this weird, like, I think if you lift for aesthetics, like you lift to look better, you're building your body, so you're a bodybuilder, right? That's how the English language works. We can kind of, do that with the meaning of the word. But you're not necessarily going out and trying to look, like, Jay Cutler. Not football, American football, Jay Cutler, but Jay Cutler, the bodybuilder. So tell us a little about yourself. How did you get into the world of fitness? I mean, I've read your About Me page, and I got a few questions on that. But for the listeners who don't know who Omar Atlas is, who is Omar and why is he alpha?
Well, I hate calling myself alpha because then people get really defensive. But so I got into fitness because many years ago, I was sort of like a really socially awkward guy. Still have that a bit of that still, but so I got into fitness as a way to basically improve myself, and it was actually kind of a side effect where I noticed that if I went to go work out during the mornings, this was like back when I was in university, if I spent an hour in the gym and like just really pushed myself, the rest of the day was really nice because I was actually like in a really good mental headspace where I could actually talk to people. So it sort of like overcome my shyness. And then a few months of doing that, all of a sudden I'm getting like attention from girls, which I never got. They're like, "Oh, have you been working out now, Omar?" I'm like, "Yeah, maybe I have been." Blah 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 blah. But so that's sort of how I like got into it. And I guess I got addicted to it because I also met some of my best friends at the gym.
Right.
And that's pretty much my story, I guess.
Okay, so like many of the people I've spoken to, and myself included, slightly socially awkward and a little afraid to talk to the ladies. It happens. No one really teaches you. Like, that's why puberty is such a weird time in anyone's life, because you're like, I have these weird feelings and I don't know how to like speak like a human being. Like, I know what I should do, but my like animal brain is telling me something else. So I enjoyed the post about you and why you still resonate with the story from when you were young about how you got an awesome gift for a girl and she broke your poor heart. Tell me a little about that, and then as you finish telling about that story and kind of how that stayed with you for a long time. Do you still see that girl? Like, do you see her around sometimes? And do you ever just kind of like roll the sleeves up and you're like, yo, what's up?
Well, okay, so let me tell you the story first. So this is actually like back in middle school. So this is like sort of my first puppy love. And this is one girl that I really liked in my class. Back then I found out it was her birthday coming up. So, and I knew this chick really liked Kit Kat, or was it Twix? I don't know what I wrote in the story, but it was one of those two chocolate bars. And well, I thought, okay, well, she really likes chocolate. I'm gonna get a whole fucking box of chocolates because that'll prove to her how much I like her. So, anyways, I get the box of chocolate card. I basically like write my entire like feelings for her in this card. Just pour everything out. Just put everything on the line. And then for some stupid reason, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna give this to her in class in the middle of a test. So I'm done writing my test. I go up to her desk. Feels like a fucking eternity walking up there. And I bring out the box of chocolates and the card. I put it on her desk, make no eye contact whatsoever, and then walk back. And then, oh my God, that walk back was like another eternity. I feel like the whole class's eyes on the back of my head. Anyways, I go sit down. And I just wait. Anyways, eventually, long story short, she opens the stuff, realizes it's from me, and so she walks up to the front of the class and just tears the card and throws the box of chocolates in the garbage bin.
Cold-blooded.
Yeah, yeah. So that I was like, what, maybe I think 11 or 12 at the time. So that was pretty fucking brutal for a while. That story stuck with me for a while, and so you asked me if I ever run into her again. Well, the funny story is I forgot she was on my Facebook. So when I posted that blog article, she reached out to me. And prologue, she's like, actually, I really liked you back then, and so did all of my friends. But I didn't want to, yeah, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, there's this, like, seminal life story of mine that's like this story that I've told myself for all these years. It wasn't even true. That was like a big mind fuck.
Oh my God, teenage years. Why? It's like why? No one does anything that makes any sense ever.
Yeah. So that was a little fun.
Interesting. That's it's funny to hear later on that she's like, "Oh, I totally liked you, except I took that really nice gift that you gave me, stared you in the eyes, threw a knife into your heart, and ripped up the chocolate in the card. But I totally liked you."
Girls are weird, but I mean, she was young too. She didn't know what she was doing, and her reason was that I didn't want to offend my friends who also were really into you. Like, oh, okay, this would have been nice to know back then.
It's very interesting the things we do under the auspice of like appeasing other people. Like we want to make ourselves happy, but for some reason, the people that we're around more often than not, we would rather make them happy than actually like make ourselves happy. It's weird how like humans do that, and I think we even do that with like weight loss, where we're like waiting for our friends or our family to be like, "Oh yeah, you should totally do that," instead of just doing it.
Yeah, I that's an interesting comment. I actually think that helping getting people on your side when you're doing a weight loss or fitness kind of goal is probably one of the most important things. This is something that I've learned in the past few months, actually, as I've been coaching people.
So what is one thing that you've learned so far that was, I guess, not earth-shattering, but just you did not expect to learn as a coach, or like as in working on getting people more aesthetic? Like, what have you learned so far in the process?
People don't actually want results. Okay, that's like a really weird thing to say. Like, as in when I first started coaching, I would do like weekly check-ins with clients.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, let me back up. My average client is a general population dude. I only coach dudes that are out of shape, fat, and they want to go from like out of shape to fit, right? Like they want to go from relatively crappy physique to like, okay, you look like you work out, you're fit.
Yeah.
So these guys aren't like fit guys looking to go on and step on the stage. So I used to do like weekly check-ins with like, give me your body measurements, send me a picture. That shit is actually demotivating people like that because the changes that we're going to see, they take a long time to show up. They're going to show up over a few months and they're still learning a lot of things.
Right.
So really what I've learned is that clients, they want feedback from the coach, but that doesn't mean that I need to get feedback on their measurements. What they want to do is, what am I doing well? What am I learning? They have no context for what doing well means in terms of fitness. So people are really looking for high quality feedback from a coach, and they're also looking to connect with other people just like them on that same journey.
All right. No, I totally agree with you on that. I mean, I do a weekly check-in. I'm a noob to all of this, so maybe like you,
Yeah.
I will learn and be like, I don't want to do this anymore. But no, I'm with you. It definitely takes a lot of time, and a lot of times, some people are like, I just want to know that I'm doing it right, and like that, I'm making a good investment. Like I'm investing the right things into what I'm doing. They don't necessarily. They do care, but they don't necessarily care that they become a millionaire. They just want to be like, oh, at least I invested smartly. They don't beat themselves up over every little thing.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of the man, the myth, the legend himself, who wrote the book Man 2.0, Re-Engineering the Alpha. So I would assume that from your website name, Alpha Aesthetics, that John Romanello in some way was an influence on you. And if he was, awesome. If not, who else, inspired and helped shape your philosophy as a fitness coach?
So John Romanello, I guess I would say the biggest influence that he had on me was in terms of writing. Like I think he's an excellent writer. Like every article of his that I've read, you actually want to read from start to finish.
Yeah.
He has like a really good sense of humor. So in terms of like my writing style, in the beginning, I try to emulate sort of his style. I'm sort of getting my own voice now. But the biggest influence that I've had in terms of like my fitness coaching philosophy is a guy called Steven Ledbetter.
Okay.
He also goes by the name Coach Stevo. I've actually been interning for him for a few months now, so he's like really helped me develop as a coach. Specifically, like just the whole idea that it's not even about the habits, it's not even about the results. People really want to find a community of people just like them, chasing the same goals. Like that's what gets people addicted to the process of working out and learning how to eat and lifting. It's the community.
No, I agree. I think I've mentioned it a few times that I was still am. I don't play a lot anymore, but I'm actually a part of a video gaming clan. Was based back in Star Wars Battlefront 2, and then we moved on. Played Call of Duty and played lots of stuff. But the reason I stayed and the reason I even played with those guys, it was for the community. We all would get together and we would like drink beers and chat and have a good time. And you started to kind of become brothers. A few of the guys were in the military, and a lot of our guys would send them care packages when they were overseas. People got packages when people had, kids that were born or whatever. And I think you're right. People are looking for a community. Humans are social animals. We want to have some sort of connection. We can't all do it lone wolf. It just doesn't work. Cool. So
which is That's one thing I've really tried to make clear on my website is that alpha doesn't mean you do shit on your own. You're not a lone wolf.
Yeah.
Human beings, compared to other animals, we're relatively weak, relatively small. But if you put us in like a group of 8 to 12 people, united in a common cause, by a leader that knows what the hell he's doing, and you're there with the team you care about, we fucking took over this planet. And so the same idea is to apply to any goal, including fitness or whatever. Like if you have a community of people that are helping you, you're going to figure it out.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you're right. We totally took over the planet from whatever was here before because we all like banded together. Yeah. So mentioning that, you actually wrote an article, and I wanted to ask because I wanted to ask you this, about having an aesthetics accountability crew, and accountability, in my opinion, which is why I do the weekly check-in, is probably the number one indicator of success. If you aren't being held accountable, if you're not having someone keeping you accountable, or you have measures and way to keep your own self accountable, you're probably never going to succeed at whatever your goal may be. So who is your aesthetic accountability crew?
Right now, actually, I don't really have one.
My mirror, that's what.
I'm kind of lazy with my own fitness right now, to be honest. Like, which is a terrible thing to say as a coach, but it's sort of on the back burner right now. I go in when I feel like, which these days is 3 to 5 times a week. And I don't know, you're on my Facebook, so I basically just do really broy shit these days. Just upper body like 4 times a day. So.
I love when you're like, you know what? I'm coming at you. Fuck leg day. I'm not doing it. I looked at chest yesterday. I'm going to do it again.
Yeah. So anybody listening out there, that does not mean I'm saying you should only do upper body. I did lots of lower body shit for years, like deadlift and squat, like everyday kind of stuff. So my lower body is pretty developed. But so now I'm just trying to like really chase like beach muscles. So get my shoulders and my arms bigger.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm doing upper body, because that's my goal right now. But in terms of a crew, I don't have one. I should probably get one at some point later on this year. But right now, fitness is kind of on maintenance mode for me.
Okay. So what is driving your focus now? I mean, is it the coaching, or do you have some like side projects you're working on?
It's the coaching. I'm also, like I said, I'm interning for Coach Stevo. So he has a company called Habitry. Okay. So I'm doing a lot of coaching for those guys. I can't really reveal too much on what we're working on right now, but just check if you'll find out more, because once we announce stuff on the website. But top secret stuff is all I can say.
Shh, we can't tell anyone, or he'd have to come kill me, and I don't want to die.
But it's gonna be fucking awesome.
Awesome.
So that's sort of my focus right now. Yeah.
Cool. Well, and I think that's an important thing that I think a lot of people should understand, is that we're not all about like working out all the time. I mean, I'm in a crazy experiment, which will be turned into like a 3-part series blog post eventually, that I'm doing, but it doesn't always have to be that. I mean, I went from playing video games probably 12 hours a day to doing this, to maybe someday I'll get off my butt and start auditioning and get back on stage or back in front of the camera. I don't know. But I think people think that we're all muscle all the time, and we're not. I mean, many of us have other things that we love to do.
Absolutely. I mean, the gym is there to enhance your life. It's not to replace it.
Right.
And I think sometimes you want to have like a phase in your life where you're really focused. Like I did that for a few years, where I was just all about gym all the time. But you eventually grow out of it because you get other interests, and you don't need to spend your whole life in the gym. You need like a minimum effective dose, I guess. Like bare minimum, you can get in shape in a few months.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think, and I have to admit, at least for myself, I have a desk job for a little while, just a little while longer. Yeah. That I'm not a big fan of. And honestly, I love going to the gym because I'm like, my fortress of solitude, like a place where like after sitting in front of a computer and staring at spreadsheets all day and my mind is just numb, like my mind just melts, it goes away, I'm able to focus. So that's what the gym is, at least for me. Now, I don't know what it'll be like when I'm working in a gym 12 hours a day, but we'll see. So, as we're talking about like different things, so, I've had Adam Fisher on, who's a big philosophy guy, and he and I have had a lot of conversations, via Facebook, talking philosophy, talking this, talking that. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm really sad he's not going to the fitness summit because I wanted to have a little sing along, but whatever. But you actually had a great article that I think touches on what we were just talking about Nietzsche. And Nietzsche is a philosopher that a lot of people get a little up in arms about because of a certain person from World War II times that was a big fan of his, and he's got to go and make Nietzsche look like a bad guy. So thanks, dude. But you talk about, the passage when he mentions, that God is dead, and how he is saying that, man needs to create a life that has meaning. And if there is more to life than being ridiculously really good looking, what is the meaning that you're trying to create? Or what do you try to teach clients, who come to you looking and thinking that their meaning right now is I need to be better looking? Like, how do you also kind of teach that there's more than just awesome biceps?
Yeah, so that's a really, really good question. So you actually asked me earlier if I have an aesthetics accountability crew, and I totally forgot. I actually created one like 3 weeks ago. It's called the A-Team. It's a Facebook group that I started of people that read my blog, that I sort of, where I help guys out with their goals. So on the right-hand side, I have like a sort of code that we follow. And what I try to tell guys is that fitness is important. Like, looking good is awesome. It's going to improve your life dramatically. There's nothing like, people gravitate towards other people that look good, but you can't really get obsessed about looking good, because then you become too focused on the outcome. Mm-hmm. You got to focus on the process, like doing it for the sake of doing it, learning how to eat properly for the sake of learning how to eat properly, lifting for the sake of lifting, and then eventually over time you see the results. But if you focus on the results too much, it's going to distract you and you're not going to reach your goals. Like, it's kind of a weird paradox that way. The other thing is, I think the biggest contributor of meaning to people is other people. So a huge thing that I really believe in is that, alpha means you try to get ridiculously jacked, to get rich, whatever, get powerful. But the end goal should be to bring up people that you care about in your life with you, whether that's your family, your friends, your girlfriend, wife, whatever. You're trying to improve the life of other people that you care about.
Okay. No, I like that, and I agree that and I've said this before. Travis Pollan had me on his podcast, and I said this on that, and I have a blog post about it, that I train partially for my wife. Like I said, till death do us part. I'm kind of a douche if I let death come earlier from things that I could have had some sort of hand in preventing. I can't stop a meteor. I can't stop a truck. Well, I can stop a truck. It's called looking both ways before you cross the street. But, there are things you can't stop. I mean, I come from a family. Of big guys. And when I say big guys, I think like my dad and even like my great grandfather, but they were big guys because they were farmers and they just ate whatever the hell they wanted to, and then worked out in the sun for like 16 hours a day. Like there was no like, oh, I got to hit my macros. It was, I'm going to eat this cornbread and drink this gallon of milk, and I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
But even then they're I feel like we kind of have lost a sense of our own humanity and our own struggle. And I know I've said this before, that it feels like we mentioned a minute ago about we took over the world. We moved from wherever we came out of in Africa, into the Middle East, into East Asia, then up into Europe and all over. And we took over. But even then, like, they had something to fight for, survival. They had survival to fight for. And now what do we have to fight for? Snapchat and Instagram and Twitter feeds? Like, we have lost so much of our own meaning because we're looking for something to fight for that we start bullshit conversations on Facebook and fights that mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I think it's that crisis of meaning, I guess, is a big problem in especially affluent societies like North America, Western Europe. So I think that's why I created the A team, which is like aesthetics accountability. I think people are really, really searching for other people to connect with, whether that's for fitness in my case or any other kind of goal that you could have. People really want to feel connected with other people. Even though we have Facebook and whatever, Twitter, people are more connected than ever. At the same time, we're not really having like real conversations, I guess. It's like pretty superficial shit.
Oh, yes, it is. I actually this week was talking to my wife and reading some papers written by some young, aspiring American scholars. And I am actually going to send an apology note to all of my professors in college and be like, I am so sorry. I was a shit. I thought I was getting away with so much and that you had no clue. Like, I was pulling the wool over your eyes and no, you knew I was full of crap and you just sat back and laughed at it and you were like, oh, just wait. Oh, just wait. Yeah, no, I think that's why we see so many people who seem so discontented with life, and angry and upset. I mean, honestly, like, we don't have a lot to be angry about in North America. Well, minus maybe this next generation due to diet and sitting and playing Xbox all day. We'll live shorter lives than their parents, but we still live longer lives than most people in the world. Food is prevalent. It's everywhere. We throw it out like, crazy people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it amazes me that we try to find meaning in these tiny little things that really amount to nothing. And we don't look at the larger picture. But I think too many times people think that people who are in the fitness and in physiques and like that is their meaning. It's not our meaning. We just know it enhances our lives and it makes things better. And maybe some of us do get obsessed for a couple of years, but at least it's better to be obsessed with that than to be like, I love heroin.
Yeah, totally. I'm not gonna argue with that.
Let's remake Trainspotting. Let's not. Though I will say I do appreciate the people who build full-scale Millennium Falcons. So whoever that guy is in like Tennessee, well done, sir. Well done. I approve of your obsession. Yeah. So all right, couple of fun questions. If you could be any superhero, or you know what? No, if you could have any superpower, Omar, what superpower would you have?
That's a good one. What's the one where you can read people's minds? That one.
Telepathy?
Yeah, telepathy. I like to read people's minds because that's what I try to do as a coach, to be honest, every day. But if I could just peer into somebody's mind, I think that would be awesome.
Okay. If you could have dinner with one person in history, who would that person be and why?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
All right. I like it.
I'm not even bullshitting. I feel lucky to be alive at a time when he's alive. Like, that guy is just, the things that he's done is incredible. Like, it's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, I'll link this in the show notes on the website as well. But the Bill Burr thing that you had in your article where cracked me up. Oh, the guy just randomly decided he's going to move to America and become a bodybuilder, and then become an actor, and then like fuck a Kennedy, and then he's going to like become governor of a state he can't even pronounce. Like the man's been on point for 40 years. Yeah, I wish like I could understand. Like honestly, I want to know from Arnold. What was like, tell me the darkest day you ever had where you honestly thought you were a failure. Like, I want to know you have those.
He'd be like, I never have failures.
So what's your favorite Arnold movie?
Oh, Terminator 2. I don't know, that's like the obvious one, but that was like the last time I cried. I was 8, and the last scene where he's like going into the fire. Yeah, that was the last time I cried, so it had an impact on me.
Oh man. Well, at least you were like, you know what? I really enjoyed that movie where he was pregnant. I did. I enjoyed it. Thank goodness. Or the Christmas movie. Dear God, Arnold, what were you thinking? Oh, it's all right. Everyone's made bad movies. Cool. So so let's talk a little about physique, the alpha physique and what you go for. In one of your posts, and I started to read it, and I got a little upset because I'm like, you're attacking my boy. You talking about Cap, all right? Listen here. He's like Captain America. That's like, I went to the movie and all I could think was, I gotta go do curls. Damn, his biceps are huge. But you're kind of right. His back is whack. Like, there's not a lot there. So chest is kind of the thing. It's like our man mane, if you will. Lions have their mane. Yeah. Men like to think of our chest as our mane. So how do you coach like chest exercises? What's your favorite? And what is the one chest exercise that most people kind of forget about, but actually works really well?
Benching, because I do distance coaching, it's really hard for me to tell a client what exercise is going to fit them. But I usually start off with a dumbbell flat bench.
Okay.
And then I ask them questions about like how it felt to them.
Yeah.
Like a super beginner, they might not even know what to look for, so I sort of like educate them on like the whole mind muscle connection thing. Like you should feel your pecs working.
Right.
So they do that for a few weeks, and then there we can move on to something else. But I really am a big proponent of dumbbell bench press for developing chest. Just because it's like greater range of motion, it's better for people because barbells, people get issues with their like shoulders sometimes. So
right.
I don't want to injure people. So I start off like with really safe exercises, or as safe as you can make it. Okay. Fan of flies and stuff. Like you can do that kind of stuff for fun at the end of your workout. Like do a couple of sets of 20 or whatever, but you're not going to build a good chest unless you're from weight and doing bench press.
Right. No. Sadly enough, like I worked chest twice a week last fall, and it still lags behind everything else. I think all the like weight I gained last fall was in my legs. Like I don't understand it. I only did it once a week. Somehow that's where everything came from. So I'm hoping my genes kick in eventually. But no, you're right. And I use flat bench dumbbells as well because I feel a little more like a badass when I'm like, I got 80 pounds, yeah, in each arm. And it does work a little better. And if it's too heavy, you can drop it, and then there's not a bar on your chest crushing your lungs.
Yeah, that's another benefit. I also like to well, I don't like, but depending on their goal, upper or incline.
Yeah.
Benching is also good because it works that upper chest. Another exercise that's kind of fun is a guillotine press.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you heard of that one, but it's kind of, you go up to a Smith machine and you basically bring the bar down to like your neck. So it's almost like kind of, like a guillotine.
Right.
It's a really good like upper chest developer, but you got to be careful because again, it's like a barbell. So if you use bad form, it's gonna fuck up your shoulders. But it's like a nice finisher after doing bench press.
Oh no, I've done it before. It's fantastic. It is scary sometimes when you get a little heavy on it and you're like, oh God, now I know what I meant guillotine. What was I thinking?
Yeah, go really light on those. That's what I recommend usually.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what is, because I love asking guests and I got to know, what is your guilty pleasure track that you have on your workout mix that you would shamefully admit to anyone you listen to?
I listen to Kanye West, 808s and Heartbreak. That's like one of my favorite albums.
Okay.
Yeah. I also listen to a lot of like love songs when I'm working out. Like, it's weird to say, but I don't know. It's just, I'm like usually really like hyper inside my head. So it kind of like brings me down a little and I can just focus on the workout.
Okay. All right. Love songs. What kind of love song? I got to know what kind of, like, when you say love song, I'm imagining in my head that like you're listening to She's Like the Wind and like Patrick Swayze is like singing in your ears.
No, I mean like I'll listen to Coldplay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Not I guess not as crazy as where my mind goes.
Sappy shit. So.
Gotcha.
Also, I guess it's not really a guilty pleasure, but I also listen to a lot of house music, but like not like crazy shit, just like really chill stuff, deep house.
Yeah. I've been getting into a little bit of that in my workouts as well. I've had the same mix for like a year and a half, and I add stuff in, and I just get really bored with it. I still haven't done what Greg Nuckols said, which is to listen to like Taylor Swift and Katy Perry, because I'm afraid I might like it.
Taylor Swift is freaking catchy, man. I have to admit.
I mean, I have to admit, yes, they are. But cool. Well, Omar, if people want to know more about you, where can they find you online?
Go to my website, alpha-aesthetics.com. You can also do a search on Google for Omar Atlas, which will pull up my Facebook. Add me there.
Awesome. Well, Omar, thank you so much for coming on. Guys, please go check out Omar's site. He has a lot of great posts up. An excellent one on training back, again, training on chest, and then, of course, some love, lots of love, eternal love for the Austrian oak himself, Arnold, on the site. I'm too short. If I was taller, maybe I could someday go for that, but there's not a lot of like 5'9" bodybuilders out there. But yeah. Anyways, go check out his site. Omar, thank you so much for coming on.
It was a blast, man. Thank you for having me.